And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV. Today, we're with Patrice O'Connor, Remax Excellence, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day and joining me on Real Estate Pros.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll give you a moment to introduce yourself for those that don't know who you are.
Patrice O'Connor from Remax Excellence. I started in, October of '88, and been in real estate ever since, all in Las Vegas.
October '88. So
Yeah.
you've been actually.
I'm old. That's what that means.
No, there was like a downturn in the '80s. Were you on the back end of that? Wasn't there? There's a wave. I
Well,
remember back.
I came in at the end of the horrible interest rates. So
That's what
interest
it
rates,
was,
yeah,
yeah.
in the '80s were like
What was
super
it?
high, 18,
Jimmy
19%.
Carter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So luckily I skipped that, but I remember lucking out when I got an interest rate less than 10%. So I was thinking, my God, it's under 10%, I gotta buy now. So, I mean, now you'd see 10% and run for the hills, but
Yeah.
long time.
Awesome. So what do you like most about being in real estate?
I would have to say mostly just the people that I've met, and mostly clients that have become lifelong friends. So, and every deal still different. It may sound old, but you never stop learning in this business. Just when you think you know everything, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Because every deal has its own challenges.
So after 30 years in the business, and still no deal is probably the same, right? I mean, there's
Never.
probably some.
Never. Some
Similar
easier
ones.
than you may think. Others, it's really a problem-solving business. I mean, it's customer service, but it's problem-solving. Something is always surprising you.
How? It seems like you see a lot of real estate agents just get in the business and get out because likely they didn't want to put in the work and the effort that needed to be able to sustain their business. What's the secret to be able to having such a longevity career in real estate?
Being a single mother of 4 children. That will do it. Single mother,
Yeah.
4 kids. There's
You got
no option
motivation.
to fail. But, I think a lot of people do get into it, and I know the first year the statistics are something staggering. Like 80% of all new licensees are out within a year. So I think the next 10% are out in the second year. So, I mean, the turnover is huge. I think people think they're going to get into the business, make a fortune, drive a Mercedes, and work their own hours. That's the biggest joke. Your own hours are 24 hours a day because you better be ready to work. And I mean, especially the first few years while you get established. But I think anybody that's going to get into the business today, I would tell them, be prepared to work 24/7 for a few years. And then you can start being a little more selective. But I mean, at first, you've just got to be out there. And I think that's something a lot of new agents don't recognize. And when I started, I predated the cell phone. So we still had books that you would look up to see houses that were available. No cell phone. And I actually kind of partnered with someone my very first year. And we bought a cell phone together and shared it. And the first time we
Was it
heard
the
it
brick
ring,
one?
yes, it was
It
a
was?
giant, yes.
Nice. Do you
And-
still have that phone?
No, I wish I still had it. Oh my goodness.
We're off to the races here. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Speaking of cell phones,
Is that there you go. Hey, I've
turn
done it before.
turn that. I thought I turned it off. I hit the power button. See, you can see technology, not my strong suit. But anyway, are you turning it off? Yes. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, the techno portion. But anyway, yeah, so I predated all of that stuff, but the phone was ringing and we had been on an appointment at the lakes and we'd never heard our phone ring other than we were practicing with each other. And it took her so long to get it out of her purse because it was her day to have the phone that by the time she answered it, it was gone and there was no caller ID or anything, so. But yeah, I predate cell phones.
So how was it? Hold on. So you did the books. Was it something that you had to get a new book like every week or
Every
something like
2
that?
weeks, every other Friday. And it wasn't legal for us to give them to clients, but they would all beg you for them. Can I have your book? When you
They
get
want to
your
take
new
it
book?"
home like a catalog.
Yeah, and truly there was one grainy black and white picture, and if by press time it was sold, sometimes they'd have time to put a black and white stamp "sold" over the front. But I mean, you could barely discern. It was just a picture of the front of the house. It would have a little teeny breakdown, square footage, year built.
So would you be like, you look through the book and then you call, oh, is it sold yet? Because you don't have, it's not updated,
Yes.
you know?
And my first business card had my home phone number on it.
Ah.
Yeah, you had your office phone and your home phone, and I remember I started with a company called Jack Matthews, and we got to brag that we had the first fax machine. So that was
Hey, you
a
guys
really,
are cutting edge, right?
it was cutting edge, for sure, yeah. Yeah, first fax machine.
Dude, that's awesome. So you've been with Remax for a long time. You mentioned that you went through different
Yeah.
closings of offices, but
I was with Century 21 for about 17 years, and then I went to a Remax office. In fact, the broker from my first Remax office is one of the managing brokers at Remax Excellence. And I love Remax. I wish I would have started there sooner.
so what's the biggest thing that you like, or thing that you like most about Remax?
Remax, I love my brokers, excellent. They're always there for you if you need to have any kind of input or there's something on your file that may need closer examination, which doesn't really happen very much for me. I'm kind of a lone ranger. But they it's a terrific, well-run business office. I mean, it's just really a good support system.
Awesome. So like I think you mentioned like, ideas for brand new agents getting into the business. You said be willing to work 24/7. What are
Yeah.
those things in 2018 that are working to be able to find deals? I think you mentioned that you work mostly on referrals these days.
I've only worked referrals and past clients for almost 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
So I only work referrals, and even them I'm pretty selective now, which is a great
You're like, if
way
you
to
were a
be.
good past client, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, sort of, yeah, absolutely. But I would tell them some of the things that worked for me in 1988, 1989 still work. And that is always do what you say you're going to do. If you're supposed to call someone back, good gosh, call them back. Don't rely on texting, and I would do open houses. You got to meet people. You have to meet people. I'd be out there. You had to look at houses when there wasn't a lot of new production when I started. There weren't a lot of new home builders in town. New homes were kind of exotic. So I would totally familiarize myself with all the inventory. I mean, every day you should be doing something. So if you don't have a listing, I would hold an open house for an agent that does have a listing. My first listing, I didn't even have my license in yet, and I went with that partner of mine, and we went up there, and he was asking us questions, and she had only sold one house, which was her parents', in the entire year before, and I thought she was going to be the experienced agent. So when it came to financial answers, she'd say, "Why don't you take that, Patrice?" So I was stuck with answering the questions, and I'm like, it was it was really hilarious. So I couldn't even ask them to sign anything. I didn't have my license.
Right.
So I said, "Can you follow us back to our office and sign the paperwork?" So our broker had to do it. She didn't know how to do it, and I couldn't do it. So it was funny, but yeah, you just have to do it. You have to get out there and meet people, and they call it newie dust. You want to tell everyone, and you're in real estate when you're brand new, and you have cards to hand out. Now I actually had to remember to bring a card because I don't tell
Referral, yeah.
people I'm in real estate.
You want to be a secret agent now,
Kind
right?
of, yeah, kind of. Like I said, I'm very selective, and I'm very fortunate to be so. So
So what does your current real estate operation look like? Is it you, or do you work with other people? Like you said, you work
It
with
is
others.
just me, but I have like escrow coordination and transaction coordination at my office. And then if I'm out of town, I have another agent, and she's been in the business about 25 years. So she's my wingman. So if I need to have anybody let someone in one of my listings or do something, I can do that. And virtually, I can do anything from anywhere now, thanks to Authentisign or DocuSign and stuff like that. But showing property, obviously, I couldn't do if I'm not in town. So she does that for me. And that's it.
So pretty simple.
Pretty simple. Yeah, pretty simple now.
Awesome. So what do you like most about living? Have you always been in Las Vegas?
Well, I was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, and I moved here in '79. So, yeah, in '88, I got into real estate all here in Las Vegas.
So were you moving from the tornadoes out there?
I was moving from rain, tornadoes, and ice. Yeah.
See, I grew up in Dallas, so I kind of, and then I live in Mesa, Arizona now.
Okay.
So we're both in the dry climate, but
Yes.
what do you like most about living out here?
It's very easy to get in and out of Vegas. We have a house in Mexico. We like to travel, so it's easy, very easy to get in and out of Vegas. And I do love the fact that I don't have blizzards, ice, tornadoes, and my daughter lives in Dallas, and she flew into Vegas last night. She was supposed to be here at 10. She got here at 1:15 in the morning because of
A delay.
tornadoes. And
Yeah, my wife will sometimes say like, "Oh, it's raining really hard." Like I will sleep through anything that's out here because when you've gone through some of the storms in out there, the
know.
tornadoes and the alarms blaring.
Tornado watches. Well, when I was brought out here by my grandmother for good grades in college, and I was 20, and I thought, oh my God, this is an exciting city. So I went home, and that summer I was working and going to school both full time. Every weekend was called off because of rain. So I was here, and I thought, I want to go where the sun is shining. So I'm the only person in my family to ever move away from home. I mean, I was like the lunatic person. So yeah, I moved back a month later. And when I moved here in August of '79, I didn't see rain until January of 1980. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Every weekend prior to that had been rained out in Kansas City. Every weekend. So when you work and go to school full time and you can never be outside on the weekend, same thing. The previous New Year's Eve was called off. Even public buses couldn't run. And so this big Broadway show that was in town I had tickets to, couldn't even get there. It was called off. And I'm like, oh
Jeez.
man. So yeah, the weather
somewhere
did
dry.
it. Yeah, and I loved it. I love Vegas.
Also, I mentioned, or I noticed on your business card it said a stager professional or something like that. So I guess talk to us a little bit about the importance of presentation.
Being a staging professional. Mostly it encompasses a lot of decluttering. And really you just have to be honest with people because when you've been doing it as long as I have, I mean, I prefer blunt. Some people you have to, I know you love this, but yeah, so mostly decluttering, getting a lot of stuff out. I've even had people move out of their house before because they were just too messy to be in the house.
Really?
Yeah, just too messy.
You're like, all right,
Yeah.
so go to the hotel down the street while we sell your house.
Well, they already had a place to go, and I said, why don't you move now? They wanted to stay until their house was closed, but it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
So.
I think that is better. And I think a lot of things that I see are like depersonalization as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I think a little bit of personalization is good. I mean, I don't mind having a few pictures. It's when they have a wall of, their children from kindergarten through college.
Right,
and their
right.
4 kids. I mean, that's a lot of pictures. But no, I think a little of it's quite nice. It humanizes it. And also, since I know you want to know what I think, I think that people have dehumanized the real estate transactions a lot with technology. And I mean, I'm not super techie, but like agents will put on their remarks, do not call, text only. Then they don't answer your text. Then you're forced to call and it's like they don't answer their phone and you're trying to get an appointment someplace. Or you never meet the other agents now in a transaction. They will show the house once, they email you the offer. I mean, like I said, we used to have to drive our offers over. You would present an offer to the seller, even if you were the buyer's agent.
Really?
So you would meet the seller. Now, so many times you don't meet another party in the transaction. So that's kind of weird. But, I think that I will tell you I've sold a lot of people at a presentation. I mean, when you're telling them about the family that wants to live in their home. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to have the personal touch. So same thing when you're showing a house. I don't think you have to totally depersonalize. That's my opinion. Declutter, yes.
Yeah. So what are those things that obviously you've seen a lot of changes in the Las Vegas area since you've been here for 30 years or so. what are those big draws to Las Vegas in general for people moving here? Obviously, I think there's been a lot of changes. You've seen a lot of it too.
Well, it will always be weather, and of course, a lot of California influx because of the tax situation in California, or people are retiring. Diversification. We've had a lot more industry move here. It's no longer just, I think, casino industry, of course, mining and agriculture were the three top ones. But now we have a lot of industry. So.
Awesome. Well, if somebody watching this is maybe an agent or somebody considering to, obviously you do a lot of referrals, but how do people get a hold of you if they want to ask you additional questions?
They could email me at patriceselleslv@gmail.com, or they could call my cell, 702-241-4000.
Easy enough.
Yeah, that's it. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I do answer my phone.
You do it. You are one of those agents.
I answer my phone. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome, Patrice. Well, thank you so much for joining me
thank
today
you.
on Real
Thank
Estate
you very
Pros. It was a
much.
pleasure, and we will see you guys on the next episode.